Well, good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. How we doing? Let's see. It's another easy for me to say. Another episode of the Fixed Blood Sugar webinar. How we doing? Hey, hop in the chat, and tell us what you had for breakfast today. I am going to do the same. Well, I'll just tell you. I don't have to put it in the chat. I had an egg, bacon, tomato, cheese, croissant. But here's the thing. I cut out the middle of the croissant and I only used the outer edges. So it probably had 10 carbs in it total, maybe. Because isn't a croissant like 100 carbs right there, pretty much? Well, maybe not.
No, not 100.
No, it's probably like 25.
Oh, yeah.
So I probably had like 8, 9. I thought that was a good idea. Yeah, my shirt. Let's reverse diabetes in 10 million lives. This is like our big, hairy, audacious goal, I would say, like long-term life mission as a company. So my good friend Brian Schultz made this for me, and sadly he passed away a year and a half ago, and so I wear this remembering him, but also remembering our mission. So good stuff. So yeah, tell us if you're just hopping on, type in the chat, what did you have for breakfast? And no judgment. So if you had, an entire
we all judge each other.
Yeah. No, we already judge ourselves enough the way it is.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. I had last night's fried rice.
Did you make that yourself or like get takeout?
I'm on a vegan diet. No, my wife made it.
Yeah. Well, that sounds pretty tasty.
Vegetables and brown rice. Yeah, we went to this Chinese store and they had this 25-pound bag of rice that was vacuum packed, and it was like a brick. It was a 25-pound brick of rice. It was really good, actually. We open it up, it goes, and yeah, it was really cool.
Keeps the mealworms out, right?
I suppose so.
Or the flies or whatever can get into
or
rice,
whatever.
I suppose. Yeah. Well, good. Okay. Well, Leslie is our host behind the scenes here. Hi, Leslie. How are you doing?
Hey guys.
She's
Welcome
still recovering from her ACL surgery, but she's rocking it. Sent us a video of her leg moving today up and down and surprising the doctors. And so that was good to see. Nice job. So Leslie just doesn't do things half-baked. Like, she goes all in. So she has a one of those Peloton type bikes getting delivered here at some point during the webinar today. So if she buds out, that's what she's doing. I just thought I'd let everyone know that, Leslie, you're an inspiration. So
well, thanks. I appreciate that.
Good work. Good work. So yes. Okay. Well, today is every other week we do basics of type 2. So we're going to talk about this list that I just kept on my whiteboard. That'll be harder to erase now because the longer it stays on a whiteboard, it gets caked in there. But yeah, Dr. Saunders, why don't you kick things off? We'll spend some time talking the basics, and I'll add in strange comments as we go. But the goal of this whole webinar is to help people that are following the Diabetes Solution Kit. This is kind of the, well, for lack of a better term, the Bible of reversing type 2. And so that's what we're going to be talking about on this webinar. We do this as a service to our customers because we want to help you succeed. So, all right, take it away, Dr. Saunders.
All right. So the basics of type 2 is really, really simple. If all you think about is type 2 is toxicity. So there's a lot of T's there, type 2 toxicity. And if you remember that type 2 is toxicity, then you'll know exactly what to do. Detox. And detox is really simple. So let me tell you about a guy that I know that had Alzheimer's disease. And he came into me after 4 years of Alzheimer's disease, and he had other things, pain and all that. He couldn't think straight, of course, and he couldn't remember things. And so his wife brought him in to see me for something else because he had ankle pain and he could hardly walk. So she said, well, I want to know why he has ankle pain. So I started going through his history and everything, and it turns out he was a welder. And I'm like, huh, that's interesting that he has Alzheimer's and ankle pain. He's a welder. um, and I said, what about lead toxicity? And she said, oh no, they tested for that. He didn't have that. So then I said, well, let's do a more definitive test. Let's do a real test. And so we did what's called the chelation test for lead. And his lead was off the charts. It was 50 times the upper limit of normal. So the 50 times the toxic level. It was so high. And what happened is, because he was a welder that was cutting all the time. So for 30 years, he's using a cutting torch and he's not wearing a respirator. So he's breathing in small amounts of heavy metals. And in those days, there was a lot more lead that was used in alloys, like brass and other things had lead in them. So he was breathing this stuff in as he was cutting. And because it was tiny amounts over a long period of time, his blood levels never got high. He would just take it into his lungs and deposit in his tissues, and then take a little more and deposit it, take a little more and deposit. It was depositing in his brain too. So he got really toxic over a period of 30 years and had Alzheimer's disease, but he didn't really. He just had lead toxicity. So we did a series of chelation treatments. Where we put IV intravenously in his vein once a week for 30 weeks. At the end of 30 weeks, he was a perfectly normal, healthy guy. And what I mean by perfectly normal, healthy, he had no health problems at all. When we got the toxin out, when we pulled it out, he didn't have any joint pain. He didn't have any brain problems. My son went and did a video with him and his wife talking about it, how he said, I just couldn't think. I just couldn't think straight. And now I get it, the whole thing. And I can put my boots on. He couldn't put his boots on. So once the toxic is gone, once the toxin is out, then everything just functions normally. Okay, that's type 2. Over years and years from childhood on up. So 20, 30, 40, 50 years, you're building up toxins. What's the toxin? Well, it's all kinds of excess. So it's excess fat, excess carbohydrates, and even excess protein. Excess calories is what it is. That's why it's those primarily. But the fat and the carbohydrates are the primary ones. So what do you do about that? How do you do that? Well, what did we have to do with the guy with lead toxicity? Number one, get away from the lead. Number two, which was easy because he was retired, wasn't welding anymore or cutting. Number two is get the lead out. So in the same sense, when you have type 2, what you want to do first is to detox. Number one, get away from it, and then get the lead out. So the first part of the detox is what we call phase 1 of the diabetes reversal program, or diabetes solution kit. And that diabetes phase 1 is what? A very low carbohydrate diet. Why? Well, if your toxicity is sugar, if your sugars are elevated, if you have too much sugar, what do you got to do? Get away from sugar, get it out. And every time I tell this to people, there's this issue that comes up of, well, what about a croissant? Can I have a croissant? No. Joe. What about just a little bit of bread every day? What about some fruit? What about I just have a little bit of chocolate once a week? What about my wine? I have to have my wine with dinner. What about? Everybody comes up with something. Well, what about? Okay, the answer is if you're lead toxic, and so you're my my patient that has 50 times the upper limit of normal, and you go, well, but I like welding just a little bit, cutting without a respirator, without a mask on. Is it okay if I do that? And I'd be like, you can do anything you want, but it's not going to help a lot if you continually bring in more toxins while you're trying to detox. The purpose for the detox is literally to detox, to get it out of your system. So the less you do, the better. So if you look at, I could do 20 grams. Okay, I'm going to, plan my 20 grams. I do exactly 20 grams. Well, what if you did 10 grams? That would be even twice as good. So it's not that you can say, where's my limit up to what I can have? Look at it in terms of detox, in terms of, how can I get rid of everything, absolutely every bit of carbohydrates? How can I do that? And there's no way to do that. That's why we allow 20 grams, because really, like, green beans don't have a lot of carbohydrates, and neither does celery, but it has some. So it's not like you're going to get rid of all of it. So even the foods that are on the list of you can eat as much as you want, like lettuce and celery, they have some carbohydrates in them, but we don't even measure them, because there's most of that is fiber. By far, most of it is fiber and not sugar. But you're still getting some. So the point is to look at, how can I best detox? How can I get as much out of my system as possible? And not what are the limits of how much I can eat? How much more can I eat? Can I eat just a little bit more than 20? What if I eat 22? Is that okay? What about 25? Can I go to 25? And I have people negotiate with me all the time. I'm like, no, just go lower instead of higher, because look at it as toxicity.
Yeah, no, that's a great way to look at it. So usually when you think toxicity, you're thinking of some sort of poison or like lead you talked about, but you don't think of sugar as a toxin. So that is a good, and like the whole mindset thing of like, why would you want to inject a little bit of poison into you, like the sugar? It's kind of like the story of the person that made brownies and they put a little bit of dog poop in it. Like, are you still going to eat it? Well, yeah, no, because I don't want any dog poop in my brownies. But that's kind of like, where am I going with this? But no, it's kind of like sugar. Like, why would you have any? Like, just avoid it completely. And then the thing that happens with your body, like, it naturally regains its original intention or created function of not wanting those carbs anymore. Like, I think our body gets into a state of craving and lack of nutrition, but you find, like, you stop taking those things, stop taking the drug, and your body doesn't want it anymore. It realizes it doesn't need it.
I've found that to be true in my own life. I love carbohydrates. I love sweets, chocolate, anything sweet. And so I ate a lot of sweets. I had Skittles in my car all the time. And so I go, this isn't good for you. So after years of having Skittles, I changed to raisins because I still love the sweet. But after a while, then I switched from raisins to almonds, and then from almonds to little baby carrots. And so I still had a snack, but I just had switched to different things. What's really interesting is that over time, eating baby carrots, each carrot has a little different flavor. So no two are exactly alike. And it's interesting how sweet they tasted to me after a while, after I had gotten off of the candy, the Skittles. Every other things tasted sweet to me. Things that I didn't used to taste sweet, like onions. I chop up onions into something, adding sweetness to it. It's like it's just different.
I love onions. Okay, so this is going to be a good teaching moment. I was at Target last night, And I was buying some, well, actually I had to buy a new Apple Watch because mine broke the other day. Anyways, I went and got some late night grocery shopping. Not always a good idea, right? However, I've been on this low carb kick, so myself, I found these babies right here. Quest tortilla style protein chips, loaded taco flavor, 19 grams of protein and 4 grams of net carbs. Now
In the
let's
whole bag for
in this,
net
so
carbs?
it's a small snack size, so it is a 1.1 ounce bag,
Yeah.
which it was very satisfying. But let's do a little um, label look teaching here. I'll see if you can read this. Good luck with that.
It's not
Okay, I'll read it
focusing
to you.
very well.
So we got
Okay.
5 grams of fat, 340 milligrams of sodium, 5 grams of carbohydrates, 19 grams of protein. The ingredients are protein blend, which is milk protein isolate, whey protein isolate, high oleic sunflower oil. Uh-oh, that was one of the lists, wasn't it? So Dana talked about this. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Calcium, caseinate, cornstarch, natural flavors, psyllium husk, salt. What do you think? He's
Are you
researching.
asking me?
Well, I'm hoping Dr. Saunders says, "Oh, those are good," because they taste
You're the
like.
second person that I have seen talk about these though in the past 24 hours. So someone else posted these on their Instagram story. So,
Well, I did post these on my Instagram
and
story.
someone else, yeah.
Someone else did too. Okay,
Yep.
so
He's from Brandon too, so it's kind of weird.
Wow, interesting. So these tasted amazing. They tasted like melt in your mouth ranch Doritos. So are these, 4 grams of net carbs? What do you think, Dr. Saunders?
I don't think they're healthy, but you know what? If you have a snack occasionally, it's not a big deal. But it's not healthy. There's another issue that you have to deal with when you have type 2, and that is the fat part. So 9 grams of fat is a lot of fat, and what that does is it makes you resistant to insulin. So it actually prevents sugar from getting into your muscle cells and causes you to put on more fat. Not because you're eating the fat, but because you're insulin resistant. So if you already have insulin resistance, then avoiding those kinds of things is probably a good idea. But you know what? If you need a snack and you don't want to eat something crunchy and you don't want to eat celery, then I don't know. It is low carb.
So that's kind of the thing with this thing. The reality sets in that, you're going to have to give up some things that are like long time things that you've loved. And, but you got it. That's why we go back to starting with your why. Like, why are you doing this? Sit down, get rid of your phone and computer and just take a piece of paper and a pen and really get in touch with your heart and say, why am I doing this? Why do I want to lose the weight, get rid of my diabetes, all of that? And then that can be your anchor point to go back to when there's things that like, man, I really want to eat, 5 tacos from Taco Bell, but nope, I got to go back to my why. I want to be healthy for my grandkids someday, or whatever it is for you. Yeah.
I also think that if you're in phase 1, stick to phase 1 the way that it is written in the diabetes solution kit so that your body can kind of get clean. And then you can try to reintroduce some of those things or try some new things to see how you react to them. So
great point.
Yeah, I know that has worked well for me.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. We don't talk a whole lot about phase 2, but so a lot of people ask this, when do I know when to go into phase 2? So phase 1 is the 20 grams. It's the detoxing, getting that sugar and carbs out of your system. And so really it's when your blood sugar numbers get down into that 70 to 90 or maybe 90 to 100 range, right, Dr. Saunders? That's a fasting blood sugar number.
Yeah, 70 to 90. Or if you're in Canada, it's 4 to 5.
And then how long do you want to see those numbers stay there until you can increase your carbs, because phase 2 is takes your carb daily limit from 20 up to 40, I believe.
Yeah.
How long do you want to be there? Yeah.
So if you have a couple of weeks of normal fasting blood sugars between 70 and 90 or 4 to 5, then you're pretty good. It's unlikely you're insulin resistant at all if you have normal blood sugars for that long. So then adding in the next level, and then you keep measuring your blood sugar, keep checking it, and if you're starting to see it go up, then you go, aha, I got too much. And so because your level is going to be different than anybody else's, or may not be the same as anybody else, you can't compare people. You can only do your own program. So so that's why phase 2 is like a broad spectrum. It's like you can do anything. What? Yeah, but you're measuring your sugar and you're saying, oh, look, I'm 120 this morning. Gosh, what did I have yesterday? Oh yeah, I had those baked potatoes, whatever. And then so, okay, I can't tolerate that. What about, if I do this? So your testing, phase 2 is just testing for you personally. No two people have the same program in phase 2. That's why we don't talk about it a lot, because it has to be your individual program.
Yeah. And then, so you do phase 2 and you up it to 40 or whatever, and you see your blood sugar numbers are continuing to stay in that healthy range. Then it's like, all right, phase 3, which is the lifetime maintenance. And I like what you said on a previous webinar is, you don't necessarily ever cure type 2 diabetes. It just goes into remission where you can't find it anymore. Kind of like cancer. It's in remission, which means, yeah, you still have it somewhere, but nobody can find it, which is exactly what you want to hear. So the same thing with type 2 diabetes is like, well, your blood sugar numbers are looking really good. So you still want to think like, okay, I don't want to go back to my old ways, because then it can just like come back in full force again. But if you think of it as being in remission and keep measuring your blood sugars and customize, figure out what you can eat and what throws things out of whack. And
so if you look at like the toxicity, after that, my patient with the lead toxicity went through a series of chelation treatments. We got the extra lead out, and then he came back periodically for about a year. He came back once a month for chelation because, it's an ongoing kind of process because it's in the tissues. And, he's otherwise perfectly normal and doing well. So then he goes back to welding, but guess what? He gets a respirator mask with a really good filter on it, so he's not breathing in the heavy metals into his body. The same kind of thing, if you think about I got toxic on sugar, therefore, just because I'm in phase 3 a lifetime doesn't mean I go back to getting toxic again, because it'll come back. So having the lower levels and being very conscious of what you're eating, and especially with the fats and carbs.
One thing I was thinking about, something, I mentioned how sometimes you get down like, oh, I can't eat that anymore, but like, and getting to your why, but like, the most people, when they stop eating carbs, they feel fantastic. Like their energy levels overall, like there might be a few times that, it's a bumpy road and your blood sugars might crash a little bit or whatever. But overall, like once your body gets kicking in, it's like a well-oiled machine. You become like an Olympic athlete again, in a sense. And like your body is almost like thanking you every day for making those good choices and feeling amazing, and the energy you have and the clarity of thinking. And I don't know, it just like, I would just say like anything, it's hard, but it's worth it. So just do it. So yeah. All right. Well, we've got
So here's one, Joe. Brian sent one in. He's going to do cucumber chips, dried and seasoned cucumber chips. That sounds good.
I need to know more about this. I need to know how you're doing that.
Yeah. Are they pickled?
That does sound interesting. Dried.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very curious and what kind of seasoning. We were on a call yesterday. No, 2 days ago. What did Cheryl say she used curry powder on?
Oh,
What was that?
sour cream? Or, well, that was, she
Think
put
about
taco
making,
seasoning in her
yeah,
sour cream, I think, for
we were
tacos.
just we're getting some really fun stuff to share with you guys soon. We're coming up with some good stuff. Our friend Dana is getting ready to share some really good recipes and food options. And one of the things that came out of this call was Cheryl told us that she mixes her taco seasoning with her sour cream. Um, I don't know if it was just for tacos or what it was, but something else that she used curry powder for that was very different, and I really wanted to try it, and now I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, I don't
Well,
Okay,
remember what she did.
here's a really good question, Richard G. Can I just do this
yeah,
one
Let's
because
do
it's
it.
so good. So Richard G. Asks, does less carbs necessarily mean more proteins? What if one is prone to kidney stones for which proteins are not ideal? You know what? That is such a good question because less carbs does not necessarily mean more proteins or more fat for that matter. Because a lot of people think, oh, if I'm going to cut the carbohydrates, I have to add in fat. That's what all of the low fat stuff does. If you look at, something that says low fat on the label, what they do is they add in a bunch more sugar, carbs to it. So instead of starchy carbs or sugar carbs, you switch those for carbohydrates that are fiber. So prebiotics or fiber carbs is actually really good. So if you're eating less carbs, you can still eat all the celery you want because that's okay. And you can eat all the green vegetables you want, the leafy greens and the salads and all that stuff. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you add more protein in. Just switch it out for things that are non-starchy carbohydrates like cucumbers and lettuce and celery and bell peppers, things that don't have a lot of sugar, but and the carbs are mostly let's see, like broccoli. The carbs are mostly fiber. That's the key.
Yep. Very good. Okay. Well, it is about that time where we switch things over to answering questions. So, real quick, bartonwebinar.com. That's the site you want to go to if you haven't registered for the call yet, if you're watching this on YouTube. And bartonwebinar.com is also the place where we list our different products, including the diabetes solution kit and various nutritional supplements that I've got sitting behind me here. Cinechroma is our best-selling blood sugar support formula that has cinnamon, chromium, vitamin D, vitamin K, selenium, and vanadium in it. Our best seller, we've got thousands of people that are taking that, that are on the monthly auto ship with that. Works amazing. We continue to get great testimonials. And so, yeah, now's your time. If you're on the Zoom call with us, start putting your questions in the Q&A section or in the chat, preferably Q&A. That's kind of a little easier for us to manage. And also, if we don't get to your question, go to our YouTube channel, which is also linked on bartonwebinar.com, and look at our different recordings that we've uploaded. We've answered a lot of questions, probably getting close to 1,000 questions now over the last 90. Are we on 90 or 91 now episodes, I believe?
91.
91. Hey, that's the year I graduated. Woo, woo. 91, 91, 90, 90, 91. All right. So let's get to it, Leslie.
All right. First off, Ronson on Facebook bought our diabetes solution kit, is also looking for some more recipes. We have more coming. We're going to be talking about more food. But Ronson, I wanted to ask you how long ago you purchased the diabetes solution kit. Let us know, because there's a possibility that maybe you don't have the updated recipes. So let me know about that. Okay, lots of great questions. Michelle has been having some stomach problems. She just invested in bone broth, beef, chicken, and vegan. Let's see, Michelle's doctor has taken her down from 100 milligrams twice a day to 750 twice per day. And she's really been praying, and God is working on her. She's getting rid of chocolate and anything else that hurts her stomach. Doesn't eat much sugar. And I think just kind of looking for some other options maybe for her gut health.
Okay. The best thing for gut health is exactly what you said, is to remove the things that cause the damage, because there are things that do that, and not everybody's the same. And some people just don't tolerate gluten, so they have to be gluten-free. Most people do. It's not a problem. And you could do genetic testing to see if you're likely to have a gluten intolerance. The genetic testing doesn't guarantee that you're going to get it, though. Some people who have the gene for it don't ever get gluten intolerance or celiac disease. So that's one. And then milk is actually another common one. Milk proteins are not digested easily. They require a lot more acid production. So sometimes people don't tolerate those. Cheese is a common cause of intestinal problems. And then yogurts and stuff like that. People think, oh, I need more yogurt for the bacteria, but sometimes the proteins cause other problems, like milk proteins cause increased acid production. And so some people get acid reflux and problems with milk. So other things that can do that, I don't know, cheese, whatever. Are you still there?
I'm here. Oh, I bet she's got a delivery.
Oh,
yep.
Okay. Oh, okay. So then, yeah, stomach issues. The first thing to do is remove any foods that cause the problem. So that was the right thing to do.
Okay, sorry. I had to manage something really quickly, but I heard most of that. So this is good. Okay. Okay, you already did that one. Chris is asking, as I detox and lose weight, I have skin eruptions and foreign matter pops out. Wood splinters, fiberglass, fibers.
Oh, that's really interesting. From the skin, the things popping out. I've had several people tell me about that, and I don't know. I've had dermatologists tell me it doesn't happen, but people say that that's really there's stuff coming out. Well, that's detox, and whatever is collecting in like the sweat glands and stuff in your skin that can come out of your pores, it can come out, and it's kind of strange, some things that come out. People have told me about stuff like that. But yeah, detoxing is a great thing to do to get that stuff out. So an infrared sauna, the far infrared sauna, has deep penetration of the energy, so it warms more the inside instead of just on the surface of the skin, and helps bring things out better.
Awesome. Okay, Gavin is wondering, if I reach phase 2, can I stop taking diamicron and glucophage?
Okay, as a rule, way before you're on phase 2, you're not on any medications. So the medications, if they're still needed, then you're still in phase 1, because you stay on phase 1 until your blood sugar starts dropping too low. You have to go off the medications so that you don't drop too low. And then without any medications, and you're on your blood sugar is between 70 and 90 for a few weeks or whatever, then that you don't have insulin resistance anymore.
All right. Question from Deb for diabetics. Can you eat as much celery, cucumbers, broccoli, cauliflower, carrots, green beans, lettuce that you want, and asparagus and mushrooms?
Yeah, asparagus and mushrooms. Wonderful. What a great list. We should keep that list. Yes.
And green beans as well.
Yes, green beans as well. Yeah, everything on that list is free.
I love this.
Free.
Brian, I am a fan of the vinegar potato chips as well. So if you figure out how to do that with cucumbers, yes, please let us know, because that's amazing. And he's going to try it with cinnamon and maybe a jalapeno. So jalapeno would be good too.
Hey, that might work. What if you put cucumbers in one of those freeze-dry dehydrator things? Not the heat dehydrators, but the freeze-dry ones that it'll make a perfect chip. I think that'd be good.
That would be good. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, keep sharing with us. Come back and let us know how that goes. Okay. Douglas says, I have type 2 diabetes. I have a small open wound that does not want to heal on the bottom of my foot. How do I heal this or prevent this?
Okay, good. Thank you for asking that. Okay, we'll do the best we can. There's two reasons that diabetics get ulcers on their foot, and they're very hard to heal. One of them is the nerves don't work well, so you don't have the sensory ability, the sensation to know, hey, there's something wrong there. There's something in my shoe that's rubbing, or there's something that's poking in my foot or something. So you don't avoid stuff that can cause damage, that can irritate the skin or open a wound. That's part of it. And then the other part of it, there's poor circulation. So because of poor circulation, the skin breaks down really easily. And then it doesn't heal because you just don't have good blood flow, and you don't have good energy and oxygen and everything to get things going. So we have something called Nervala. And the purpose for Nervala is to heal the nerves, but it has benfotiamine in it that improves circulation. So the first thing to do is get your blood sugar under control so that your blood vessels can open up and you can get good circulation. So, and then at the same time, start taking Nervala to increase the circulation. Okay, those are two things you can do right off. Then heat increases blood flow. So being careful not to get like hot to burn you, but like a hot bath or a hot foot bath, warm. They have warmers, those kinds of things. What's really interesting is there's a certain wavelength of light. It's in the red wavelength that turns on the mitochondria that make the energy to help heal things. And so you can get healing lights now. They're just handheld healing lights that are they're tuned exactly to that. I don't know what it is, 350 nanometers, but or 400 nanometers or something. They're tuned to that right wavelength to turn on the mitochondria, because they are sensitive to light. What they used to do in the old days was actually let the wound out in the sun, and the sunshine has that light, and you can put the sun on it, and that'll help it. And you don't need a long time just to turn it on. So it's just like a switch. So 5 minutes in the sun, a couple times a day or something like that. And then use heat to open the blood vessels and warm things up. Magnesium also helps. Magnesium is the only muscle relaxant that works on the muscles. And then the benfotiamine, and get your blood sugar under control. The essential to this is getting your blood sugar under control, because unless you do that, the rest of it's kind of useless.
All right. Joe, can you show us the magnesium and the Nervala just so you guys can get a visual of what they look like? Hold on, switch the view here.
Sure. So here's our magnesium. This is a spray that you spray on your skin, all over your body, arms, chest, legs, head if you're bald like me, wherever. And you just basically wipe it on and let it absorb. It takes like 90 seconds, and then it's in your body. It absorbs as much as it needs. So really handy. This has got 22 milligrams of magnesium per spray, I believe. Or no, not per spray, per serving. That's
the serving size.
Serving size, 30 sprays, I believe. So mixed with water, it's distilled in water. And then we've got Nervala, which is this bad boy right here. Green. Why did we do green? I don't know. It just looked good with red because I like Christmas. So.
And you can also get 25% off when you use code webinar25. So head to Barton Webinar or Barton Nutrition. Either way, you'll get there. And I'll post that in the comments here as well. Or Joel will write it on the board maybe.
Sure.
Okay. Let's see. Let's keep going here. Connie says, I just received my supplements, Synachroma and turmeric. Do I take these together? And Connie would like some help. She wants someone to call her and explain how to get started. She ordered the book, The Sugar Cure, but have not received it yet. Help.
Okay, so the Synachroma and turmeric can be taken together at the same time. That's not a problem, or separately at different times at different meals. That's fine too. The turmeric is actually very helpful for lowering inflammation, and there's some pretty good evidence that lowering inflammation improves insulin resistance or decreases insulin resistance and improves sugar utilization by the body, because inflammation kind of blocks it. So when you get rid of the inflammation, the turmeric helps blood sugar. There was a review article that showed several studies, 13 studies that showed an increase in glucose utilization, a decrease in insulin resistance in people taking turmeric. There were 2 studies that showed no difference, and that may be because they didn't use the right kind of turmeric, or their dose was different or whatever. But most of the studies clearly showed there was an improvement in blood sugar with the turmeric. So you can take them together. They both work. They improve insulin resistance, and along with the diet, they're remarkable.
Today's Fixed Blood Sugar webinar is sponsored by Synachroma, our best-selling advanced blood sugar support formula. Now, thousands of people around the world are taking Synachroma every day as part of their program to fix their blood sugar using natural ingredients that simply work. Now, Dr. Saunders formulated Synachroma to meet key nutritional deficiencies that most people have unknowingly suffered from for far too long. With Synachroma, you get a blend of 6 key ingredients: the perfect combination of chromium, vitamin D3, and vitamin K2, which it's important to take those 2 together, selenium, vanadium, and our 10-to-1 cinnamon bark extract. Now, if you're not already using Synachroma, I highly recommend that you give it a try and see how it helps your energy, your weight, and your blood sugar numbers. You can get Synachroma at bartonnutrition.com or on Amazon. If you get it at bartonnutrition.com, you can enter the coupon code webinar25 and you'll save 25% off at bartonnutrition.com. But I realize some people like to go to Amazon as well. So anyways, Synachroma, highly recommend. Now let's get you back to the Fixed Blood Sugar webinar.
Let's see, Denise, I have high blood pressure due to stage 3 kidney disease. I take metoprolol for my blood pressure medication. Since my kidney disease is chronic, I will always have high blood pressure. I've read that long-term use of metoprolol is harmful. Do you have any suggestions? What can I suggest to my nephrologist?
Yeah. Okay. So metoprolol is a beta blocker, and it does potentially have some kidney issues. And then, yeah, if you're worried about your kidneys, that's a good thing to talk to your nephrologist about. They will usually put you on an ACE inhibitor or an ARB, angiotensin receptor blocker. Those would tend to be a better choice than the beta blocker. The other thing to consider is kidney function can improve, or you can stop it from getting worse. Number one, control your blood sugar, and then the turmeric, it actually has been shown to prevent kidney damage. And there's one more trick that was extensively studied and is shown in the alkaline literature. So if you're looking at like alkaline water and stuff, where people put a quarter of a teaspoon of baking soda in a half a cup of water, a day, twice a day, and drank that down. So a half a teaspoon of baking soda. I don't know if you have to do it twice a day. I think one of the studies was a half a teaspoon once a day. And the baking soda sort of makes the body alkaline, at least the kidneys, which makes it more efficient. And one study showed that it did prevent them from progressing on to dialysis. So there are things you may be able to do to prevent dialysis. Turmeric being one of them, baking soda being another one. And then, of course, getting your blood sugar down to normal would be an excellent way to prevent that.
All right. Let's see. Question from Mariama. Last week, she had asked if cranberry is good for type 2 diabetics.
Okay. Cranberry. Cranberry is probably okay. The types of sugar in cranberry are not rapidly digested, and they won't cause a lot of insulin release like other juices, for example. Cranberry extract is good for preventing the growth of bacteria in the bladder. So people that get chronic bladder infections, I often use cranberry. But I don't know that it's especially good for diabetics. I don't know that it is. It'll make the blood sugar better or change anything specific. I don't know.
All right. I'm gonna scroll here. All right. Is it recommended to eat foods with low fat content? I am a type 2 diabetic.
Okay. Yeah, it is recommended. And let's talk about that a little bit. Okay. So sugar is the problem, right? Well, maybe. It's actually a combination, sugar and fat primarily. If you have a lot of sugar, then your cells, are bringing in sugar. But if you have a lot of fat with it, then the fat blocks the cells from bringing sugar in. So a lot of the insulin resistance starts with eating fat. It only takes within a few hours of having a fatty meal, you become insulin resistant. So there's more to the picture than just, I ate too much carbohydrates. There's some evidence of mixing, like if you have carbs with fat, that's where the big problems are. And so if you separate them out and you have like a meal with fat in it, and let's say you have, I don't know, something with meat and broccoli or some kind of non-starchy vegetable with it. And then in another meal, you have like a salad with fruit in it, or fruit salad or something like that. And you completely separate the fat and carbs. That could be helpful too. When you're in phase 2 and you're wondering, well, what can I eat? You might find that eating fat and carbs together is going to really multiply your insulin resistance, make your blood sugar go up. Whereas if you separate them out, you may not have a problem with it. So yeah, it is recommended to lower the fat too.
Okay. Paul says there isn't much information about anyone reaching phase 2 and beyond, and he would really like it if those who have reached phase 2 could give us their testimonials and how long it took to get there, etc. So that is a really good point, and that's something we're going to think about too. So if those of you on the webinar have reached phase 2 and can share some insight, that would be awesome. Or Dr. Scott, maybe you have some examples or some people that you could let us know about how long maybe it took them to get there, etc.
Yeah, that's the highly variable part, where some people that they start and they're not on any medications or anything, so it takes them a matter of a couple of weeks, then they're on phase 2. And whereas other ones, may take 6 months or a year for them to get to phase 2. So it's highly variable, and that's one of the reasons we don't put their stories on, because where's the expectation? Oh my gosh, this is going to take a year. or oh yeah, I should be done in a week. Where do you go with that? Or where in between? Yeah, that's true. It would be great to hear those stories, though. I agree.
Mm-hmm. All right, Meg. So far, we've not been able to get my husband Bob's medication lowered, even when he's getting closer to the ranges of 70 to 112 fairly regularly. They keep him on metformin, took him off glipizide, put him on Jardiance to start today, and they will not do a C-peptide test or fasting insulin. We have a phone conversation in 2 weeks with his primary care physician. His secondary doctor changed the meds, and we thought he'd be more open to change. What do you suggest we use as a guideline as far as numbers and time that he's met the general range and the general range you want before we push harder for some change?
Okay. If the numbers are 70 to 112, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good reason to at least find out. So the way to push harder is to tell the doctor, you know what? When you get to your primary care doctor, say, okay, we're seeing numbers in the 70s and we're getting really worried. Use the word worried. I'm scared of getting hypoglycemia. And they say that Jardiance can cause hypoglycemia. Can we do a trial off Jardiance to see if the blood sugar can stay low or something like that? I think you should work with your doctor, but there's a point at which you may want to push harder and say, look, the numbers are normal. Why don't we try something, like going off of this to see what we can do. That's really great that you can get it down that low. That's good work.
Okay, Meg is asking what tests are needed to check for non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, and how does it affect our liver's ability to detox and help us with its abilities to help diabetics?
Oh, wow. Okay, that's another thing. The turmeric, for example, turmeric reverses fatty liver disease or prevents it because it helps detox. So liver is the detox. That's what's detoxing. So people think, well, I'm going to go do a detox. We talked about doing a detox by getting rid of the sugar and stuff. So, and that's a great detox to do, but we often don't think that our liver is detoxing every minute of every day. And if you don't have a liver, what do you die from? Toxicity. You just get toxic on all the stuff you make in your body. So, people are running around going, oh my gosh, the BPA in my plastics are going to kill me. No, that's not what's killing you. It's what you're making in your body that's killing you if you're not detoxing. It's the detox of the constant toxins that you're making from your own metabolism. So yes, that liver is really important. And I was just reading the other day about how turmeric can prevent the fatty liver. So your other question was, how do you diagnose the fatty liver? You need some kind of imaging, ultrasound or a CT scan to see it. Generally, we assume fatty liver when people have elevated liver enzymes and they're overweight or have diabetes. That's not really a diagnosis. That's just an assumption.
Okay. Andy says, is there a meal plan for phase 2? He loves the plan and phase 1, and the food tastes great. So what would you say to that?
I'd say stay in phase 1 and add on other things that you like. The reason there isn't a specific, like, this is what you do, like in phase 1, is because this is where you're branching out a little bit. You're making it your own. You're individualizing your own diet of how it's going to work for you. And not everybody's the same. So we can't dictate what's going to happen on phase 2. That's where you just keep on phase 1 and start branching out. Add in some of this, add in some of that. Hey, I had a baked potato, my blood sugar's fine. But I have a baked potato with butter on it or sour cream, and my blood sugar shot up. Because that's the insulin resistance from the fat, right? So So those are the things that you're testing as you go through phase 2. It's really your own test.
What are some other options to eat with a baked potato other than fat?
I spice it. I don't, yeah, you're thinking, what else could you put on there?
I know.
Every sour cream, butter, it's all fat, right?
Whatever. Yeah. Just curious.
Yeah. No,
We
I use spices. So I put a lot of garlic, and I have onion and paprika. And then I like it kind of salty. So I have something called fish sauce. It's a Chinese fish sauce that's
like a boat.
really,
Boat?
Hey, this is a really interesting one. I want to get to Dell's question. So he nicked his little toe and he must have been bleeding. So he took a blood sugar reading. You didn't ask this already, right? He took a blood sugar reading. It was 115 from his toe. So he was curious. He took it from his finger and it was 142. Why would it be different?
That's interesting.
Because the machine. Wait. What was the one from the toe?
The toe was 115 and then the finger was 142.
140. Wow, that's a big difference. The machine is not as accurate as you think it is. And the other part of it is when you're taking blood from the capillaries, some of what you're getting is parts of the blood, the serum, or the part of the blood that is already being used. The sugar is already being used, so it gets you close. That's what these machines do. They don't. They aren't like getting a venous blood draw would be different than a capillary draw.
Interesting. Yeah.
Okay, we're running out of time. Joe, do you have any other questions that you want to ask out of all these? There's so many.
Oh, I know there's no, I don't right now. I'll look while you take another one here.
Okay. Let's see. I haven't even read this. I'm just going to start going here. Ed says, I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. I was told to start taking metformin, 500 milligrams. I don't take any other meds. Blood pressure is good. Cholesterol below 200. Sugar went from 3 to 6.2. Could this be a mistaken blood test reading? No history of family members having diabetes, and I'm maybe not heavy, or it says I'm something about heavy. I'm 68 years old, 6'1", 207 pounds.
Yeah, that's not heavy particularly. Okay, so if you're muscular, so the question is the 3 to 6.1 reading, is that no? Well, it should. 3 is fine. 6 is a little on the high side. So yeah, it could be, absolutely. And that's one of the things, just like what the last person said about the toe being so much different from the finger stick sugar. That's interesting. So yeah, retesting. But see, if you just go by the blood sugar, that may not be your best bet. You might want to look at what's your insulin level, what's your C-peptide, your blood sugar, your hemoglobin A1C. So look at the big picture. Do you really have diabetes? You may not. It may just be hyperglycemia.
All right. Gavin says, I'm 58. What can I use to reverse muscle degradation? Muscle.
Loss of muscle.
Yeah.
Okay. That is really important. Keeping your testosterone levels up. And the way to keep your testosterone levels up is, number one, get your blood sugar under control and get the belly fat. Get rid of the belly fat, because belly fat converts testosterone to estrogen, and that will cause you to lose your muscle mass, and you'll be more like a female muscle mass. So if you want to keep your muscle mass up, you got to keep your testosterone up, and injecting testosterone doesn't always do it, because most of the time men are injected with testosterone, and that gets all converted to estrogen, and they end up in the same boat. So you still have to get the belly fat down, and you still have to control your blood sugar. You can take a hormone called DHEA, which is an androgen that also helps the muscle mass and the focus and drive. And it is an androgen like testosterone and is made into testosterone. But it can also be made into estrogen, so you have to be kind of careful with it. I would get tested. Just see what your levels are. Look at your own belly fat. If you have a lot of belly fat, go, that's the first thing. I got to get rid of that. And then exercise. When you exercise, you build muscle. And then try the 6-10 reset, which is where you get all of the androgens, all the anabolic steroids, all the anabolic hormones, including ghrelin and human growth hormone, melatonin, all of the growth hormones and anabolic hormones happen at night while you're sleeping. If you have an empty stomach and you're asleep by 10 o'clock.
Awesome.
Amen.
Too much information, right?
Anything you saw, Joe?
Not really. Well, let's see. So somebody asked about magnesium. Why does it burn when I spray it on my body? That was from Galaxy A51. I think might be related to Elon Musk, possibly, if that's their name. So I don't know if that's our magnesium or not, but.
Okay, so magnesium spray. One of the things magnesium does is it enlarges blood vessels. And because it enlarges blood vessels, some people who have, because it relaxes blood vessels, people who have autonomic nervous system, like twitchy, and they have a larger blood vessels, can get like a hot flash from magnesium being put on the skin. It's not a problem. It's just relaxed blood vessels. And it does make the skin feel warm. But I don't know if it makes it feel warm. Maybe that feels burning to some people. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. Like if I get some in my mouth, it doesn't taste the greatest or whatever, and it's a little metallic. But well, hey, we've reached the top of the hour, Dr. Saunders. I know you've got patients to see, and so we'll let you go. Leslie and I will hang on here and answer a few more as we can.
Okay. See ya.
Yeah, thanks. See you next time. Today's Fixed Blood Sugar webinar is sponsored by Synachroma, our best-selling advanced blood sugar support formula. Now, thousands of people around the world are taking Synachroma every day as part of their program to fix their blood sugar using natural ingredients that simply work. Now, Dr. Saunders formulated Synachroma to meet key nutritional deficiencies that most people have unknowingly suffered from for far too long. With Synachroma, you get a blend of 6 key ingredients. The perfect combination of chromium, vitamin D3, and vitamin K2, which it's important to take those two together, selenium, vanadium, and our 10-to-1 cinnamon bark extract. Now, if you're not already using Synachroma, I highly recommend that you give it a try and see how it helps your energy, your weight, and your blood sugar numbers. You can get Synachroma at bartonnutrition.com or on Amazon. If you get it at bartonnutrition.com, you can enter the coupon code webinar25 and you'll save 25% off at bartonnutrition.com. But I realize some people like to go to Amazon as well. So anyways, Synachroma, highly recommend. Now let's get you back to the Fixed Blood Sugar webinar. All right. We love Dr. Saunders. He, on Thursdays, he is at a clinic close to his hometown. He lives in California, Southern California, I think just north of Santa Barbara a little bit. He had a program that we talked about and offered in the past where you could call his office and he could be your doctor, but he's reached maximum capacity now. So we're kind of lucky to have him for the hour that we get him right now. And so thanks for asking your questions. And so Leslie and I maybe will stay on 5 or 10 minutes here, try to answer some more questions because we've seen many of these before, and we can either try to answer them now or refer you to our webinar recordings on YouTube. So that's definitely something you want to check out. Go to our YouTube channel. It's called Barton Webinar TV, maybe something like that. We link to it from bartonwebinar.com. You can also go join our Facebook page, which is called Barton Webinar now. It used to be called 610 Reset, but we just changed the name to Barton Webinar, which makes more sense because it includes all of these different things, including the 610 Reset. So I'll walk through this list here. Seems though it's the basics. It's always good to revisit these, but I think one thing I've learned is that it's not just one change that you make that is going to like make a big difference. It's the multiplication factor. The more things you can change in your life, the more success you're going to have, the better you're going to feel, the more likely your type 2 is going to disappear. So phase 1, get your grams of carbohydrates down to 20 net per day. And that means the whole day, you're not eating more than 20 grams total for the day. That means you're tracking your macronutrients and your carbohydrates. That means you're reading labels on the back of the bread. You might see that one slice of bread is 15 to 25 grams of carbs, depending on what kind of bread you're eating. So you want to avoid things like that. Eat whole foods, healthy, natural, vegetables. Watch out for fruits because fruits have a lot of sugar in them, and those can cause trouble. So really, it's getting rid of most anything that is sweet and just eating your veggies and salads, and then watch what happens. So then 610 reset, empty your stomach every night by 10 o'clock p.m. That means stop eating by 5 or 6 o'clock at night, and then go to bed at 10 o'clock because your body makes, was it ghrelin that he was talking about, and the human growth hormone. And there's just a small window of time that you need to be asleep, and your body uses it to repair itself. So all the damage that's been done throughout the day, which happens to everybody, your body repairs itself during that time of sleep. So if you can be asleep at 10 o'clock with an empty stomach, that works amazing. Next thing is look for stress things that are triggering that can affect your blood sugar. We've had a lot of people ask, like, why is my blood sugar higher in the morning, or why do I still can't get it below 120? Well, look for things that might be stressing you out. If it's family, relationships, work, whatever else might be going on, look for ways to reduce that. Some other things you can do is prayer, meditation, singing, just doing things, laughing, being around people that have good energy. That's all important to reduce stress. Minimal sweets, we talked about that. Anything sweet causes your pancreas to secrete insulin. And so we want to avoid that. Even artificial or natural sweeteners like stevia can cause that. Stevia is something that you probably need to test your own levels with. Some people can handle it and others can't so much. So high fiber. Dr. Saunders has been talking about increasing fiber in your diet. And that, so fiber technically is a carb, but it's a carb that your body can't process. So I think of fiber as like a celery stalk, or the really hard part of bottom of an asparagus spear that's super chewy, like you're chewing on a stick or something. That's fiber. And so eating, not that you should eat sticks, but the more fiber you eat, the better digestion you'll have, the slower you'll absorb those carbs, and it's really good for you. Next, nutrient deficiencies. So that is why we created Synachroma and our other nutritional supplements, because Dr. Saunders, he has said he's not a big fan of supplements, but he's done so many blood tests and tests of people that are deficient in vitamin D and chromium, selenium, vanadium. And these things are like key minerals and nutrients that our body needs to function properly. And so when you can address those things with a supplement like Synachroma or like Nervala, these are really good for blood sugar and neuropathy if you have that, energy, things like that. So that's something, that's why we created our own. Dr. Saunders formulated each of them, If you're interested, you can learn more by going to bartonnutrition.com. And we do have a special discount coupon code, 25% off when you use webinar 25 when you check out. So, all right, next is measure. So how are you going to know if you're making progress or not if you don't measure? And measure with a good blood glucose monitor, and also getting tests with working with your doctor. We've talked about C-reactive protein tests, insulin tests, and I don't remember, other than, and then A1C, of course. So, and then the last two, celebrate progress. And that, like, we love to hear your stories. We love when you share the success stories, to see your numbers, to see, the weight loss and your energy levels. And just when you've had light bulb moments, when you learn something, it's like, aha, and then you try it and it works. Like, we love to hear that. So celebrate your successes with others. And it just creates a positive energy for yourself and for others. It shows people that they can do it as well. And it's all about, so our, what do we call it? Our core purpose is delivering hope and healing. It's our little tagline. We love to deliver hope and healing. So when you share your stories, it gives other people hope. And so we love it. So last thing is coaching and community. And that's part of this webinar. We've got a lot of people that watch us every week. And we love it when you're here and commenting and asking questions and giving us feedback and hearing from others. And then you can also join our community on Facebook called Barton Webinar and watch the YouTube videos and invite your friends and family. If you know anybody that is struggling with this, just send them on over to our YouTube channel. And there's hundreds of hours of recorded webinars with great information with Dr. Saunders, great questions that have come in, and all of that information together just does a lot of good. So, Leslie, do you see any questions here that we could try to tackle?
One of the things that came up was someone was asking if some of those supplements can replace some of the prescriptions that they have gotten from their doctor. And Dr. Saunders would tell you need to work with your doctor on that. Most of the time he says, there's no interferences between them, but you don't want to just stop taking one of your prescriptions right away. You kind of need to monitor it and see how it's going.
Yeah, there was a question. Somebody said that their doctor wouldn't take them off some medications, and they thought that their new doctor was going to be a little bit more happy with the natural remedies and the lower, grams of carbs that they're eating. And they said, yeah, no, that didn't work. They just changed medications. And so sometimes if you don't have a doctor that's going to work with you and do what you want to do, like change doctors, find a new doctor. There's nothing saying that you have to stay with your doctor. Go look and find somebody in your community that is what's called a functional doctor. And that's the key word. If you just type functional doctor and then your hometown or the closest big city to where you live, you should be able to find some and work with them. Like, they're the ones that want to get to the root cause of what's going on. If you're working with a doctor that is only interested in medications, which makes sense, they're medical doctors. That's what their degree is in. They learn about medicine. But if you want a doctor that gets to the root cause of your issues and not just adding medications to your body, then go find a new one. That's what I'd recommend. And that's important because your body you only have one body. And so I just hope that encourages you to find somebody. And yeah, doctors, they're not your God. They're not they're not the boss of you. So functional doctors are great. And let's see, what else?
Annette had posted, I love my diabetes kit. I refer back to it over and over. It is valuable and a must-have for diabetics.
Amen. Thanks, Annette. We love to hear that.
Yes.
I shared that with our team, actually. I just copied that over and sent it on our Slack channel, and we love to hear feedback like that. So good stuff. All right, Mary, a question about why she has pain when lying down. That one is over my pay grade, so we'll have to Mary, if you can come back next week and ask that, we'll get Dr. Saunders to answer. So Chuck asked about avocado oil, if that's a problem for fats. So avocado oil is one of the healthier fats that we've talked about. Avocado oil, olive oil, and coconut oil, I believe, are kind of the top three. If you're going to use that for cooking or different things, it's definitely better. Let's see, Dana. So we recorded a webinar with Dana the other day, which we'll be publishing here soon. But she talks about the 3 C's and the 3 S's. So I'm gonna test your memory, Leslie. What were the 3 C's and 3 S's of oils to avoid?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so the oils that we want to avoid. Let's see. 3 C's. Canola. I got the S's. Sunflower, safflower.
Soybean.
That was the extra one.
Yeah. Well, was that one of the S's?
I don't know.
Yeah. And then let's see. Canola was not a good one.
Canola.
Right?
Right. Canola.
We'll have to watch.
On the spot, I wasn't even thinking about it.
Yeah, vegetable oil typically is not a good oil. So, but yeah, coconut oil is good, avocado oil, and olive oil.
Yeah.
Be careful with olive oil too, because a lot of times those can be rancid and you got to find a good brand. So.
And peanut was another one that was on the list.
Peanut oil tastes amazing, but not healthy. So, corn oil, that was one of them. Canola oil, corn oil. Yep. Good stuff. Let's see. Coney just bought the book, but forgot to put the coupon code of 25% off. Well, Coney, thanks for the extra $5. Trust me, it'll be worth it. So if not, if you want to email us, we can refund you that. Not a problem. But okay, let's see here. How about a plant-based, no sugar added yogurt? So there is a Greek yogurt that we like, which is, I think it's an Oikos brand, and it is no sugar added. It's got high protein, which is good. So typically, but I don't think it's plant-based. So I guess you just have to look at it and see what's all in there. Look at the carbs.
What does William say? I bought my kit and have not read anything yet. I work odd hours, so I want to cook meals in advance. Are any of the recipes in the kit that will work this way? That and snacks are what I need to focus on. So there are some of those in the kit. One thing that I would recommend, we talk about this sometimes, about just making bowls of food. So for example, let's say you go to the store and you buy rotisserie chicken, or maybe you like tuna, or finding some protein sources that you like, and then using that as kind of like the main part of your bowl. You can add all the vegetables that you want, a healthy type of sauce that you like. Maybe you want to use cauliflower rice or, whatever, but having some of those really easy things that you can throw together quickly makes a really big difference. And if you get stuck and you're like, I don't know what to eat, sometimes I just think, okay, meat and veggies, keep it real simple if you can do that, because that's easy and quick. You don't have to spend a lot of time thinking about it. There are also, look at the diabetes solution kit. You should have access, if you bought the digital version, you should be able to have access to that right away.
Yeah, I was also going to mention to William, so he just bought the kit, so he's brand new. And so one thing Dr. Saunders talks about is really avoiding snacks and having less frequent times that you eat. So eat 2 to 3 times per day max. He said one of the biggest myths that others put out there is 5 to 6 small meals a day plus snacks, and constantly keeping something in your belly. He's like, that's the worst advice you can give someone, because they're constantly creating that insulin. And so it's way better to only eat 2 to 3 times a day. Give your stomach 4 to 5 hours to fully digest the food and empty itself completely. That empty stomach is actually what is needed to produce certain chemicals in your body that repair itself and that. So if you can eat, like he recommends eating a big healthy breakfast, a medium-sized lunch, and then either skipping dinner or just a small dinner at night before 5 or 6 o'clock. And that way, then your body gets, it's called intermittent fasting. So you'll be fasting from 6 p.m. to 8 a.m. the next day. That's 14 hours. If you can go even more than that, that's even better. So, but eating breakfast is much better than eating dinner. And so it's kind of the eat breakfast like a king, lunch like a prince, and dinner like a pauper. So as far as portion sizes and all that. Yeah, and snacks, like that's probably the hardest thing to break that cycle of eating snacks. Just eat a good full meal and then only drink water in between, I would say. All right, what else?
Let's see. I didn't see what Chuck said. I've been working on phase 1 for about 2 weeks, and have seen substantially drop in fasting blood sugar, and now seems to have plateaued. I'm only eating proteins and veggies, black coffee, lactose-free milk, and no sweetener. I've lost about 10 pounds. Is there something I should be doing different? I think he does talk, Dr. Saunders does kind of talk about this.
Is that in the Q&A section? Oh, here we go. Up
I don't
top.
know. I don't think so. We might have to ask that again next week.
Yeah, so the 120s kind of plateau. He basically says that's not too bad. That's like borderline pre-diabetic, and so it's really close.
And
Yeah.
I think he said everyone kind of has that point that they'll reach.
Mhm.
I believe he would recommend fasting right there. I could be
Mhm.
wrong, but I think that's what he recommends. Well, we can find out. Let's ask him next week.
Yeah, and he's talked about morning blood sugars. Like when you wake up, like things typically spike a little bit just as your body gets ready for the day and energized. So I would say check your fasting blood sugar at night before bed and see what that number looks like, because that might be in the 90s, and then you know that I'm okay. So
Or even try doing the 6-10 if you're not already doing that. That may
mhm.
make a difference as well.
We talked about breakfasts earlier, and people shared what they were eating, and somebody asked like, "What's a good healthy breakfast?" And so, like my go-to would be eggs with vegetables in them, and a meat like ham or bacon or turkey or something like that, and avoiding anything with the grains. You got to look at like cereals. I used to love cereal. I still love cereal, but I used to eat cereal a lot more. But if you look at the carb content on cereal, like 1 cup, which isn't a lot, that's got like 40 to 60 grams of carbs in it. So Raisin Bran, Frosted Flakes, all those have just way too much carbs and sugar in them. And it's really the food companies that put that in there because they know we get addicted to sugar. So you just got to treat it like Dr. Saunders started us off today, is a detox phase. We got to treat this like we are treating a drug addiction in a sense. Like you got to just completely stop doing the things that are hurting us, harming our body. So, and after a few days, it gets easier.
I usually try to keep my carbs out of my breakfast because I always feel like, well, I may want carbs later in the day. I don't want them in the morning, so I always try. I think eggs and the meat, veggies, all the things that Joe said, those are probably the best thing you can do. Dr. Saunders is a big fan of eggs. I'm not always hungry in the morning right away, but Dr. Saunders will say he really recommends that you eat right away. Even if you like deviled eggs, that's kind of a go-to like thing for me if I'm not super hungry, but it kind of feels like I'm getting a treat almost when I have that. So that's another option.
Mm-hmm. For people that are cooking their meals ahead of time, like if they cook once a week or something, I just learned this yesterday, but you can prepare cook your meats like to 60% done. And then when you reheat them, it finishes it. And then it retains that juicy flavor. It doesn't get dried out as much. Same with the vegetables too. So undercook it, then freeze or put it in the fridge, and then when you heat it up, then it finishes cooking and it tastes better. So, little tip I learned, a little trick.
Awesome.
Is it okay to add lemon in my water? Because I really dislike the taste of plain water. Yeah, nothing wrong with lemon. So, I don't know why you don't like water. I wonder if your water is, if it's all water. I love regular water. So, but yeah, adding lemon, nothing wrong with that. There's just like very little, next to none, no carbohydrate. Like lemon, just it isn't sweet. So that's really, I'd say, the indicator. But yeah, if adding a little lemon can get you to drink a lot more water, by all means, go for it.
Yep.
Well, let's do one more and then we'll sign off for the day. As this has been a great call. Hope this is helpful. We've had a lot of people staying on, so appreciate that. And we will be back next Thursday at 11 a.m. Central Time. Watch our YouTube channel because we may have a new episode with Dana coming out. She's our low carb cooking specialist, and we talked about a lot of great stuff. We didn't do it live. We plan to in the future, but we wanted to do our first one recorded so we can edit it and put it on our channel. So, all right. Do we have one last question? I think we might have gotten most of them. So, what is a healthy sauce? That would be a good one. So yeah, sauces. Boy, you can get lots of carbs packed into a sauce. That's for sure. Well, mayonnaise.
Yeah. And we talked about balsamic and olive oil are a really good sauce. Like if you're doing salads or even some of those bowls, but don't be afraid of like hot sauces. If you can do those are usually pretty good. The not coconut aminos. What did we talk about instead?
Liquid aminos. Is that what Cheryl was talking about?
Yeah, but not coconut aminos. There was something else we were talking about instead. Cannot think of it. I'm not sure. But there are also like Primal Kitchen does make some different dressings and sauces. You can look at those. I know they're like Whole30 compliant, but that doesn't mean that they're low carb. So I would have to look at some of those too. But kind of play around with some things that you like and look for an alternative to it.
Yeah. And fish sauce, as Elliot and Brian reminded us. So yes, I don't even really know what fish sauce is, but
It's good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. A fishy sauce, I'm guessing. So, okay. Well, this is great. Did your bike get delivered?
I think so. I don't know. I haven't been out there. Boy. I heard some stuff. So.
Okay. Well, that's exciting. Are you gonna be riding your bike one-legged with?
I can't ride it yet. I have to wait still.
Yeah.
So I'm about
to bend your knee, right?
Just over 2 weeks out of ACL repair. So actually I have a brand new ACL. So I can't really quite do that. I've gotten to bend to about 90 degrees, but it takes some work. So
yeah. Good. Well, keep up the good work.
Yeah.
You're a trooper. All right. Well, thanks everybody. Lots of good comments coming in. This just makes us happy. I love this hour of my week coming on and interacting with you guys. And yeah, it's actually, I may have shared this before, but it was almost 2 years ago now. I just felt I was praying and God just told me in various ways, like I need to help people more. And doing this webinar is what kind of popped up. And so what I realized is it wasn't so much that, well, it's very helpful, obviously, but it's really helped me even more, I'd say, because it's helped me to connect with our customers and really to hear from people, both like what questions they're having, what struggles they're having, but also to, I totally lost my train of thought there, but yeah, really just connecting with our customers and hearing, their feedback and hearing the success stories. And then we share that with our team and they love to hear it. So we have about 20 people that work for us behind the scenes in various capacities. And so we share your stories and your comments with them, and it's very encouraging. So
Yes.
Anyways, we will see you guys next Thursday. Thanks for joining us. Take care, everybody. God bless. See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Leslie. Bye.